It's Halloween 2020, and I'm your host, Chris Hutchinson. Join me on my channel as we celebrate Halloween 2020 for the month of October as we cast some spells, find a trick or treat or two, or even make a little scary costume. Make sure you're subscribing to my YouTube channel. Also, share with your friends. Make sure you're liking each video. Comment down below what you'd like to see. And I'm your host, Chris Hutchinson, and welcome to Halloween 2020. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Chris Hutchinson, and as you see, we finally got our backdrop for our YouTube space. I was really going for a mountain theme or woodsy mountain theme because I live here in Eugene, Oregon, and we're surrounded by mountains, and I live in a butte. So it kind of reminds me of home, and it's where I get my inspiration from. Today's video for Halloween, I love Halloween decorations, but sometimes they can be pricey. So I figured we can make our own Halloween decorations using items from the Dollar Tree and Goodwill. And then there's going to be one item that I got from Michael's. Here's a very, very extra cheap Halloween decorations DIYs with Chris Hutchinson. Here we go. Bloop. So for our first item is, I went to Michael's today to get some supplies. Now I do recommend you can shop at Michael's. Sometimes they can be overpriced. But I have noticed in this last year that the Dollar Tree and Goodwill are great places to get tons of your DIY stuff that are the same stuff at Michael's or Hobby Lobby for a whole lot cheaper. So I went to Michael's to get some supplies, and I found these really cool Venus flytrap floral themes. And we're gonna make a centerpiece with them. I love Venus flytraps. I wish I can learn how to keep them. They were on sale at Michael's for 40% off, so I only spent about $3.59 for per bundle. So I did splurge and spent and got quite a few, but this is something that I will keep out all year long. Also, we're gonna be putting them in this cauldron. We're going to be painting this cauldron and making it very cute. This cauldron came from the Goodwill. It was only $1, so it wasn't like breaking the bank. And these two cubes, which we're going to put our the stems in, now we're going to put the stems in, only came from the Dollar Tree for $1 each. So we're going to start with this DIY. For my first item, I'm going to take some baking soda and some acrylic paint and mix them together. This process has been really popular among DIYers lately on YouTube, so I decided to join the bandwagon. So this will allow your item become a more ceramic look than a plastic look item. Also, since this was a black item, I had to go over it with multiple coats and then even towards the end a layer of white spray paint, but it also kept the same texture that I wanted to. After the pot dries, you want to add your 2 green squares to the bottom of the cauldron. Take some Scotch tape and you want to do a crisscross effect going acrosswards in the other direction onto the pot. This will give the Venus flytrap and the leaves a professional look, and this technique is used by all the florists in the professional stores. Next, I'm going to be spacing out the Venus flytrap heads into my pot. Next, I grabbed some leaves that I found from the Goodwill store. They're purple and green, and I thought they would go great with the Venus flytrap's colors. So I'm just going to snip these apart and fill in the spaces where it'll look more like a plant. I ran out of the green and purple leaves, so I decided to go to my trunk where I keep all my DIY supplies and grab some matching leaves that would go with this plant. I didn't really want to make these new leaves a focal point, so I only added a few to the bottom where there were holes that needed filling. After sticking in all the leaves into the pot, you should be finished with your project. I loved how this turned out so much, and I can't wait to have it out all year. Tell me down below what you think of this DIY project. For the next project, you're going to take a big cookie jar from the Goodwill store. I got this one for only a few dollars, some acrylic paint, and some baking soda. My goal was to make some swamp voodoo jars that you can have out for display for Halloween. After it dries, you want to get some swamp netting that you can get in your Halloween section or at any store. I found this at the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue it to the top to the jar to give it that cool swampy effect. During this process with my hot glue gun, it kept chipping the paint off, so I had to go back in and fill in where the chips were. Next, I'm going to take some wooden string and I'm going to place it around the top to give it that cool tide effect when you close the lid onto the jar. Like I said, this will give it that cool voodoo swamp jar look effect to it. And this should be your final product. Comment down below what you think of this project. For the next project, we'll also be doing another voodoo swamp jar. For this, you'll need some acrylic paint and some baking soda. And then I just took a cream off-white tan color just to give it not so much of a white color, but an off-white color. This technique will make it a cool voodoo swamp jar effect to it. After it dries, you're going to take some more swamp netting and you're going to place it at the top of the jar, giving it that cool swamp effect look to it. Next, you want to take your twine and wrap it around the top of the jar, making that cool effect towards it. Next, I'm going to be mixing a cool dark green color look together just to give it a little mossy look effect to it that looks like something was growing onto the jar. This is an optional technique if you want to use it. And this is how the final jar came out. Tell me down below in the comments what you think of this cool voodoo swamp jar. I loved how it came out. For the last voodoo jar, we're going to be using the same technique with the baking soda and the acrylic paint. For this one, I used white and an off-white to give it a two-tone effect to it. After it dries, you're going to take some applications that I found from the Goodwill store. These were made by Martha Stewart. I absolutely love her. Anyways, then after you apply the twine to the top of the jar, it'll be giving that cool detail look to it. Next, I had some skeleton beads that were from broken bracelets. I decided to glue them to the jar to give it that official voodoo jar look to it. The only thing is, for this project is I wish I had more beads to cover most of the jar, but I could always add more later if I wanted to. And this should be your final product. Like I said earlier, I didn't have enough beads to finish this jar, but I still think it turned out pretty cool. Tell me down below what you think of this DIY project. Next, we'll be doing a TikTok DIY. All you'll need from this is a hand from the Dollar Tree and some moss and a mirror. Also, have some popsicle sticks to give that better support for the hand to hold the candle. This should be your final product. Tell me down below in the comments what you think of it. The next item is going to be a candy bowl. You can find these items at the Dollar Tree. You want to have strong scissors to cut the skeleton hand in half, but keep the other half because we're going to glue that on to the bowl as well. Next, you're going to take your hot glue gun and make drips going down the skeleton fingers. This will be for our blood going down the fingers. I kind of was thinking with this red container, like a blood pool almost, and I wanted the blood to be dripping onto the fingers as well. The great thing about this DIY is when you cut your hand in half, you can stick your hand into the skeleton hand. That way it looks like your hand is part of the skeleton hand. Next, you're going to take some red paint. Luckily, I had red paint that was pretty close to color as the container. Then we're going to paint on top of the hot glue where the drips that we made onto the fingers. This will give it that blood effect dripping from the fingers. And I really think this technique is really cool and really awesome to receive that cool blood effect. And this should be your candy bowl. I think this turned out really cool and really awesome. Tell me down below what you think of this candy bowl. I hope you had enjoyed this video today. These were fun and entertaining DIYs that anyone can do at home. And they're fun and cheap and affordable. And sometimes the best DIYs are the ones that you make at home. Make sure you're liking this video. Make sure you're subscribing to my YouTube channel. It's free. I'm back every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Northwest time. I'm Chris Hutchinson. Till next time.